you've been doing this with a secret in a sense. And this is the first time you're revealing this, that you have some kind of disability. Share with
Yes.
the audience what this disability is.
Well, when I was born, two of my fingers were longer than the other. And so around 2 years old, they were just a little slightly longer, but my mother was just very sensitive with all that. Like I said, she was very much of a woman of perfection. So she just wanted to get it fixed, the problem fixed. So what happened, it was about 2 years old, I started having surgeries from about 2 to maybe about 16 when I told her I wasn't doing it anymore. Because I felt like a guinea pig after a while because they kept doing the surgeries because they thought that as I would grow, the fingers would grow, out of proportion or whatever, according to the time of growth. So they were trying to stunt the growth by cutting the finger, but they mutilated it. Basically, one of the fingers, they literally, it's just it doesn't look good. So one of the fingers had a nail on it. They took the nail off and then they cut the other finger up. And so I felt like a guinea pig in a way, because my mother always would teach me about, being grateful that it wasn't worse than it was. But the unfortunate part was I had a lot of issues with going and looking at the children that were going into into the appointments, and they had us all in this room that would come in and look. It was children's hospital, but I looked like a normal kid. No one. I didn't look any different than anyone else. But for me to have to see that as a young child was very difficult. And many people don't really understand sometimes the effect that it has on children to have to deal with things when their parents say, not get over it, but you're blessed. It could be worse. This is what my mom's perspective of it. But I think that somewhere I probably needed some type of counseling to help me through. But I kind of just stuffed it and kept going. You know how we learn to do, in our community. So I just kind of stuffed it and kept going and just never addressed it. And always, I wouldn't necessarily hide it, but nobody ever noticed it. Patty LaBelle didn't notice it for 15 years.
No, so none of the other children noticed it.
Oh no, the children noticed it. I got teased and bandaged and had to rewrite every 2 years. I had to learn how to write again. I was right-handed. It was on my right hand. Sometimes I would learn to write with my left hand. So I was just dealing with a lot of things of just trying to heal from the operations. Every 2 years is a very short period of time, for a kid to have to heal mentally and then keep going and growing.
How did that affect you mentally, though? I mean, as far as like just continuing to, like you hearing your mom trying her best to give you the affirmation, like, okay, it could be worse, you're fine. But at the same time, that there's something wrong and going through it. And like you said, feeling like a guinea pig. So mentally, it had to have an effect that if you wouldn't have gotten the counseling as an older person, it probably would still have that same effect on
Yeah, it would. And I never got the counseling. I think I stuffed it.
you.
I keep moving, because like she taught me a certain way to be. I think I just kept being and doing what I wanted to do to pursue my dreams. I didn't like have it hinder me, but mentally it kind of affected me for things I wanted to do on TV, or, I would always look at people and try to judge how they were looking and moving on TV and say, if I had to go on TV, how would I position myself and that type of thing. So those type of mental things, it started working on me as I got older, but I still had to keep going once again. So I finally decided to tell the story, which I think is going to free me up a little bit.
Well, I mean, and I applaud you for that, because I've made it no secret that I've gone through a lot of personal traumas when I was a child as well. Not huge traumas, but traumas that were small that
Yeah.
affected me in my life in so many different ways, in my personal and in my professional life. So I applaud you for doing that. And I wrote a book to actually kind of get that all out of me. But when it comes to you, as far as like this defect was concerned, you use your hands, you use your fingers. So, I mean, this you're a designer, but
Yeah.
it's almost in the equivalent of me overcoming a stuttering problem in a sense.
Yeah.
So, did you ever think that this was going to affect what you do, your love for design or for sewing?
Oh no. I never thought that for 1 second because I had that down from 7 years old when I cut those shorts and pants, short and headscarf at my auntie's house. Um, I knew I could do what I wanted to do. So from that point, I just my hand never stopped me, put it like that, on the creativity, the drawing, the sketching, the cutting, the sewing on the sewing machine. It never was a problem.
You know, when you look back on things, and you know, look, our parents do the best they can for us, and they raise us the best way they know how. What if you were in your mom's shoes at that time, and you had a daughter that was going through the same things? What words would have wanted to have heard from your mom?
Maybe, how do you feel?
Mm,
How are you feeling? Instead of telling me how I should feel.
mm,
I mean, I think that's just part of our community in a way. If you got a certain kind of mother or family, you know how I'm laughing, but you know how it is. You know, they just tell you what you need to do, and that's it, that's all. So I would have probably liked to have been asked, how are you? How are you doing with this? Are you okay? Not saying she didn't love me, and not saying she never asked me any of those questions. But I'm saying just to understand, or to try to maybe understand maybe what I could have been going through, because I dealt with a lot of opposition with the children, and you know, I don't know, it just was a lot more than she might have understood.